Hello guys, welcome to Online Web Tutor presented by profotech Solutions team. I am Sanjay. We are learning WordPress basic plugin development tutorial and this is our part 2. In our first part guys, we have seen that how can we save our data as well as list data. Also we haven't used JavaScript and Ajax to save our form data. Okay, so in this video session guys, we will discuss about the edit details as well as delete data. Okay. And also guys, if you are a beginner to this channel, then please don't forget to subscribe and keep watching our previous video sessions of Online Web Tutor. And also guys, if this is your first video session, then you could find actually the first part right here inside this WordPress basic plugin development tutorial. Actually you find several playlists that we have made for the plugin development tutorial. Like here you can find which contains 41 video sessions, and this is the object oriented called boilerplate. Okay, and this is the simple plugin actually we are developing right now, but in this playlist guys, we are not using the JavaScript or Ajax for our form submission. We are using the direct form submission to save as well as list data. So just back to our editor, and this is the code that we have written in our first part. Okay, and also guys, you can download the first part video sessions code right from this GitHub repository. Okay, and now this is the administrator panel where actually we have installed called WP Next plugin. Okay, so in this video session guys, we are going to do something like that. Just click on plugin, and now we have no actually the row for edit as well as delete data. If you want, suppose something, if you want to edit this row or delete this row, so how can we achieve that? So just back to our editor, go to list student, and now let's add a row called th, and let's say action. Right here just add a td, okay, table data row, and let's say that within anchor tag, let's say it's edit part. Okay, and also let's call delete part. Okay, so basically we have made two anchor tags with edit and delete. So let's say href, let's say admin.php. so just back to our editor, sorry, administrator panel, just copy this URL and paste it here. So just replace that and paste it here, and also inside this anchor tag, so just break down, and let's say inside this anchor tag, let's say href and paste again. Okay, so if what we want that when someone clicks on edit button, just refresh that page, and now we have two buttons called edit and delete. So if someone clicks on edit button, we have to redirect to the add student page, but the condition is that this is the mode of edit condition. Okay, so just back to our editor. So first of all we have to copy this slug because this is the slug of this add form page. Okay, so just copy this page slug, go to editor and replace with this WP Next plugin, and this is the page slug that we have made for our add form. So now we have two buttons of edit as well as delete. Okay, so if you go to administrator panel, again go to list students, just I'm clicking on edit, and now we are redirected to this add form. Again go to list students, and now while clicking on this delete button, we are redirecting on the same page. Okay, so now if we click on edit button, we want to send some parameters to this query string, like this is the mode of edit condition, as well as we have to pass the id actually responsible which actually data we are going to edit. Okay, so just back to editor, and let's pass that, let's say action equal to edit. Okay, and the id which is responsible for the basic data edit condition, so let's pass a student, and now this student data actually contains the id value as well within this array parameter. Okay, so this is something like that. So this is the id. Okay, so if you go to database again, and now this is the table that we have made called WP Next plugin TBL. If we click on that, this is the ID. Okay, so by the help of this student variable, actually we have retrieved the array parameter of ID index. Okay, so if we save this file, again go to browser, just refresh that page, and now if you go to list students page, if I inspect this edit button anchor tag, so just make it as something like that. So if we inspect something on edit button, so as we can find that if we copy this, suppose something like that, let's decrease some font size. Okay, something like that, and now As you can see guys, that admin.php page equal to wp next add action equal to edit and the id equal to 1. Basically this id equal to 1 refers to this data row, means sanjay at gmail.com. If you go to database, this is the row number id. Okay, so if we click on suppose Rahul, so this is the id 3. So if you go to Rahul, just inspect that, as we can see that id equal to 3. Okay, now just click on edit button. After clicking, we are successfully redirected to our add form page with these query string parameters. Okay, so successfully we have to read these parameters from the URL, and now after reading these parameters we have to take actions to this form. Okay, so just back to editor, open up add_student.php file. Why? Because this is the page actually contained by this file. Okay, so now let's actually fetch some parameters from the query string like action. Just copy this and let's say that action equal to age set. It will be in get request, so just make copy of that and let's say train. Okay, and also we are actually getting the id of our record, so just make copy of that and let's say that id age set get request again, and this is the id section. Just make copy of that and let's say int val. Okay, so basically these are the two parameters that actually we are retrieving from our query string. After getting the id of that row guys, actually we have to retrieve the values of that row to show all the values inside this text box. Okay, so let's say that row details, let's say row details equal to wpdb get row wpdb prepare, and let's say that select asterisk from and the table name something called wp next plugin tbl. Just paste it here, where id equal to integer %d, it means the numeric value, and the id equal to something called id, and right here we are getting. Okay, so select asterisk from wp next plugin tvl, where the id equal to means where id equal to the query string value that we are getting. Okay, so now back to our editor and let's say that just copy this variable print r. So if we save this file, go to browser, refresh that page, so these are the details actually we are getting of id3, that is Rahul and Rahul at gmail.com, something like that. Okay, so again we are going to list the students. Just click on first data, these are the details. Records are coming into the object format. If you want to convert into array, just back to editor and pass array, let's say array associative array. Okay, we want the result in associative array, something like that. Okay, so let's say that row details, just make copy of this variable and also just get rid of that. Okay, so just scroll down and let's say that within this txt name, let's say value, and the value actually we are retrieving something called echo age set, and this is the variable that is row details age set, that is something called name parameter, contains the name value. Okay, so if it is set, then if we want to print otherwise the empty value. Okay, so just make copy of this row, means the value attribute, just back to email section, paste it here, and let's say that echo age set if it is email, because we are getting into the key email, and let's change it here. So if we save this file, go to browser, refresh that page, and now as you can see these are the details of id1. Okay, so if we back to list students, just click on the Rahul detail and these are the details of Rahul. Again go to list student, just click on again on any detail, this is something like that. And when we click on add student itself, as we can see that we have an empty form because query string does not exist. Okay, so if you go to list students, click on this icon, and now we have some details of this ID. So what we want that we need to update these details with the database row with this unique ID. So just back to editor, and let's say that when someone clicks on this submit button, we have handled in our previous video session inside this post form submission. Okay, so inside that we need to actually put some conditions. On the behalf of that, we need to update our record. Okay, and also guys, we need to update this URL of our action parameter, because we are going to submit this form. And now if we inspect that, then now we have the query string. Just scroll up, we have the query string without query string. Okay, means we have the form action URL without query string. But right now, as we can see that this URL contains some query string parameters. Okay, so we need to attach these query string parameters right into this URL. By the help of this query string parameters, we need to actually submit this form. Okay, because this is the normal form action parameter which is responsible to save our data. But now we are going to update our record, so we need to pass these extra parameters inside this form URL action. Okay, so just back to editor, just go inside our form action URL, and let's say that if action is not empty, means we have some values inside this query string parameter. Just copy that. If it is not empty, okay, means the action parameter actually we have saved inside this variable. So just go up inside this action variable, we are getting the request parameter, that is something like action. If it is not empty, means we have some value that actually we are getting like edit. Okay, so if it is not empty, means if it is not empty, we need to attach that query string parameters. Okay, so just back to browser and copy these things, something like that, and let's say that echo within single quotes, paste it here. Okay, so if action parameter is not empty, we need to attach this query string with our form action URL. Okay, and this is the dynamic value actually we are getting inside the id variable that we have taken. So just scroll up, this is the id variable that we have taken to store our id value. So just make copy of that, go to form action URL, and now get rid of this static value, and just with dot symbol paste it here. Okay, so this is the PHP code actually we have written to check our form action URL. If the action variable is not empty, it means we have to attach the query string parameters, else it is empty. Okay, so let me check that. Go to browser, refresh that page. So if we check the form action URL, as you can see that now the query string parameters are attached with this form action URL. But if suppose when we click on add students itself, so now as we can see that the action variable is empty because it is not getting any query string parameter from the URL. And now the form action URL is now revert back to the original. Okay, so just back to our editor, and now with this query string parameters actually we are going to submit our form. After submitting form, we need to read these parameters that actually we are passing inside this form action URL. We need to check this URL inside this post submission data. Okay, so let's say that inside this, if just go up and let me copy all these parameters once more, paste inside this form submission data. Okay, let me make some formatting, and now we have to check that if action is not empty, so just cut here and wrap inside this not empty function. So if action is not empty means it contains the value called edit. Okay, else we have to submit this form for the add condition. So just cut it from here and paste inside this else block. Why we have pasted inside this block? Because action parameters contains the value of edit only if and only if we are editing that record, because after getting the query string parameters right here, we actually get the action value. Otherwise it will be blank. After getting blank value, it will not go inside this if block, it will go inside this else block. So in that specific condition we have to save that record. Now what we have to do next, we have to update that record. So let's say that wpdb update method, and the first parameter that we have to pass something called the table name. So just make copy of that, paste inside the first parameter. In the second array parameters we have to pass the updated values, and in the third array parameter we have to pass the condition. On the behalf of that we are going to update this record. So let's say that inside this third parameter of arrays, let's say that on the behalf of this id we are going to update this table row with this following updated data, that is name. So just make copy of all these things, because actually we are getting all these details into the post data. Okay, so just save this file, and now we have to set something on the message variable. That just make copy of that, go inside this if block, and let's say that form data updated successfully. So just save this file, go to browser and refresh that page once more. Just close this console tab, click on list students, click on the first. Now we are getting the values of first record. So let me update that. Let's say Sanjay Kumar and something called Sanjay for something dummy value. Click on submit button. And now as you can see that form updated successfully. So if you go to our database table, click on refresh, and now the record has been updated. Okay, successfully. If we click on list students, and now we can see that the record has been updated. Okay, again click on this edit button. So now let's update that. Let's say that Rohit Singh, something like that, submit button, and now form data updated successfully. So successfully we have updated our records. If we refresh that, the record has been updated. Just back to admin, and let's add some record. Just click on add a student, and let's say that Riyan Sarma. Okay, and let's say that Riyan at gmail.com. Just click on submit button, and now form data saved successfully. So just click on list students. So successfully guys, we have actually submitted our data to this data table, and also we have saved this record to table also. Okay, so we have seen guys that how can we add our record, as well as we have edited our record. So the next task that we have to see that how can we delete this record on clicking on this icon. Okay, so for now we have completed our edit detail sections of our task number part 2. So just back to editor, and now for the delete condition guys, we have to pass the same ID here also, because after getting that ID actually we will delete that record from this table. Okay, so just let's say that ID equal to, and something we have to pass that actually we have passed inside this edit block. So just I'm going to copy, and now inside this delete anchor tag just paste it here. Okay, so if you go to browser again, just go to admin panel, refresh that page, and now if we inspect this delete anchor tag, we can see that this is the ID. Okay, again inspect the second row, and this is the ID number 2. Okay, so successfully on the behalf of this ID guys, actually we are going to delete this row from this table also. And also just back to editor, let's pass the action parameter as well. So let's say action equal to delete. Okay, so now if we click on this anchor tag, we will be redirected on the same page. Okay, but actually with these query string parameters, that is delete and the ID value. Okay, so just I'm going to up, and let's go to add student page. Again make copy of that things that we have written. So just make copy of all these two variables, just go to list student page, and now paste it here. Okay, so let's say that we have to check now the if not empty action value means the action value contains some value, and now the action value should be something called delete. Okay, so after getting the delete action value, we want to delete that record with this ID. Okay, so first of all we have to check that the record actually exists with this ID or not. Okay, so let's check that row exists. Okay, and let's say wp-db something get row wp prepare method. So let's say wp-db prepare, and let's say the select asterisk from the table name something called wp next plugin tbl, where id equal to the numeric value something called this id variable. So this is the very basic query guys that we have written to check that the record actually exists with this id or not. Okay, so if row has some value, if count row exists is greater than 0, it means the value exists. Okay, so in that condition we want to delete that record. So wp-db delete method, and inside this delete method the first parameter we have to pass the table name. So just make copy of that, paste it here. In the second parameter within this array variable we have to pass the ID, because on the behalf of this ID we are going to delete that record, and the ID actually coming inside this ID variable. Okay, so now if the record has been deleted by this ID, then we have to redirect the same page, or we have to reload that page. Okay, so for that we need to use called header function of PHP. Okay, so basically it reloads the page, say let's say location dot site URL, and we have to redirect to the page called site URL. Basically it gives the something called this is the site URL, but apart from that we have to copy this query string parameters and rest of the things just back to editor and paste it here. Okay, so this is the value actually we have attached with this site URL, because the site URL is the WordPress function returns the path up to your project, but rest of the parameters you have to pass you itself. Okay, so successfully after deleting that record we are going to reload our page, and for reload purpose we are going to use something called the header function of PHP. Okay, so if we save this file, go to browser, just close this, and now refresh that page. So if we want to click on this, so let's say that delete on Sanjay record. Sorry, actually we have clicked on the list, so just back to our list and just click on delete button. And now we can see that the record has been deleted, but actually I think guys that header function is not working as I think, because I have manually refreshed that page and the record has been gone. And also as we can see that the query string still exists but record does not exist. If you go to database table, record is still there, just refresh that page and now the record has been deleted. But actually the main concern is that main issue is that the page itself not reloaded, because I think that header function didn't work. Okay, so just I am going to actually remove it from here, and let's say that again if I paste here, just go to browser again, suppose I'm clicking on this data, just click on that, delete, and as you can see that the record has been deleted but the page itself not reloaded. Okay, so if we refresh and browse again, record has been deleted. Okay, so as we can see that the page is not reloading, just check the issue. So if we get rid of that, before let's cut this text and just remove the header section from here, and now we have to include the script tag for the page reload section. Let's say script. By the help of this JavaScript code actually we can refresh our page. Okay, so let's say location dot href. Basically we have to pass the URL, okay, redirect URL. So let's say within PHP tag we want call site URL, and now with this site URL we have to actually attach these are the parameters. Okay, so successfully after getting site URL, these are the things that we have to attach. Okay, so if we save this file again, just get rid of all these query string parameters. So let's add some another record, let's say Sanjay. Click on submit button, successfully we have added. Go to list students, we have 3 records, again go to database table, we have 3 records now. So if you want to delete this Rahul record, just click on delete button, and now as you can see that the page itself reloaded and the record does not exist. If we click on browse, now the record has been deleted. So successfully guys, we have seen that how can we edit our record as well as delete our record. Okay, so one more thing that I would like to do with that actually delete condition, just back to delete anchor tag, and now with this anchor tag I am going to attach the on click event. Okay, so let's say that on click return the confirmation to ask that are we sure to delete this record, are you sure want to delete. Okay, so if someone clicks on OK button, then it will return the true value. Otherwise, in case of false value, the URL will be not redirected. Okay, so if you go to browser again, just refresh that page, click on this delete button, and now as you can see that are you sure want to delete. If you click on cancel button, the page itself not reloaded. Okay, and the still record exists. So if we click on the OK button, as we can see that the record has been deleted. Okay, so what we have done, we have attached the confirmation JavaScript function, confirm JavaScript function inside this on click event. If we click on the cancel button, it returns the false value. After getting the false value, this URL actually will not be redirected. Okay, otherwise on clicking the OK button, it will be redirected. So successfully guys, we have completed all our tasks of this video session. And also guys, I would like to say that all the form parameters that actually we have made called add student, as well as if you go to list student, just click on edit button. These are forms are not protected because we have not provided any data validation, as well as we are not securing our input details as well as output. Okay. So in our upcoming videos guys, we will see that how can we protect our form from our attacks, or we can validate our data before making any submission request. Okay, so these are actually we will see in our upcoming videos. So in this video session guys, we have completed all these two tasks. And also if you have any query in this video session guys, then please drop your comment. I will give my reply as soon as possible. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day.